الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله تعالى من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. O believers, be mindful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the way He deserves, and do not die except in a state of full submission to Him. Amma ba'd. Today's khutbah, titled Cost-Free Islam. The cost-free Islam, the illusion of costless faith. This is a phenomenon that's nowadays majority of Muslims are living. And what it means, the cost-free Islam, it refers to Muslims' desire to practice their faith without any cost, without any price, without any sacrifice, without any burden. They wish to cherry pick from the ruling of the Islam what fits them and what fits their comfort zone and fits their amusement and enjoyment. And they used to do this, and they have a complete internal, without any internal conflict. They are completely internally happy. I'm done. I'm good. I pick what I can do and leave what I cannot do, and I'm good. Today we're gonna fix this understanding. Today we're gonna talk about this, and this is a wrong understanding, and how to tackle this, and how the Islam is not based on this. Islam is completely against that understanding. So the problem with this kind of understanding or way of life or way of faith, what happens, what this phenomenon, what this way creates at the end, the product of that. The product of that is a mediocre Muslim, is a Muslim with weak aspiration, with weak target. You have, you don't have a big target in their life. They don't understand the meaning of this life. They don't get the point of it. To understand this and fix everything back in place, we need to go back to the basics and understand what Islam means, what the word Islam means. Islam, when it comes to the Arabic roots, it means submission and surrender. That's what Islam means. Submission and surrender. So what submission from the Sharia point of view, from the belief, the faith point of view, what this means? Means we submit ourselves completely and entirely to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we surrender to Him by worshipping Him and by obeying His commands. That's what it means in Sharia. So this will take us to another thing. So this is called the state of servitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what servitude means? Servitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the essence of the relationship between the human being and the Creator. That's a kind of definition for that relation between us and our Creator is called servitude, ubudiyya. And it's not only about the act of worship. The servitude is a state of the heart, is a behavior, is a way of life that we live under the ruling of Islam and believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what does it mean to be a servant to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to be in that state of servitude, to make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the center of our life? Mean His pleasure comes over anything else. Whatever pleases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes over anything else in my life. And we free ourselves from the servitude to the ego, to the desires, to people, to temptations. We free ourselves from that. And we live in balance between the body and the soul, between what we have in this life, what we need to get in this life to be able to survive, and what our soul needs. We have to have a balance in this. And we find the truly freedom of us, the true freedom, in the servitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because He is the creator of everything, the whole universe. So from this understanding, we believe that, or we conclude that Islam is not only about worship, is not only about, just declare your shahada and do salah and sawm and zakah, that's it. Islam is a complete way of life. Believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, obedience and righteous deeds, that's all comes under the understanding or the term Islam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Baqarah says, or said, يا أيها الذين آمنوا ادخلوا في السلم كافة ولا تتبعوا خطوات الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, oh, you have believed, enter into Islam completely, not partially, not pick and choose, completely. And do not follow the footsteps of shaitan. Indeed, he is to you a clear enemy. So that's a total commitment. Enter into Islam completely. Not to choose what suits me and what does not. No, it's completely, total commitment, total embracement in belief, worship, character, and lifestyle. That's the ayah. That's an order from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Al-Ahzab, وَمَا كَانَ لِمُؤْمِنٍ وَلَا مُؤْمِنَةٍ إِذَا قَضَى اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ أَمْرًا أَن يَكُونَ لَهُمُ الْخِيَرَةُ مِنْ أَمْرِهِمْ وَمَنْ يَعْصِ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ فَقَدْ ضَلَّ ضَلَالًا مُبِينًا. It's not for a believing man or woman, and this is one of the rarest position in the Quran that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addressing the man and woman differently, like mention both of them in the ayah. That means it's individual responsibility. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His messenger decreed a matter to have, for that individual to have any other choice in that matter. Whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His messenger decreed, that's it. This is what I'm gonna do. This is what I'm gonna follow. I don't have any choice. Indeed, whoever disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His messenger has clearly gone far astray. So to understand this, so if we have that belief, if we have that to follow Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is it that easy? So, I mean, if that life is that easy and believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and embracing the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is that easy? No, what's the point? No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put something in this life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put trials and obligations on us, test. So to understand that test, we need to read that ayah very carefully. Ayah in Surah Al-Ankabut, أحسب الناس أن يتركوا أن يقولوا آمنا وهم لا يفتنون. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, do people think they will be left to say, it's easy to say, they would just tongue, something on the tongue that we believe without being tested? It's easy to say I'm a Muslim. It's easy to say I'm a believer. So what's the evidence? Show me the evidence. Show the evidence to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How to prove that you are a truly Muslim and a believer. The face is more than words. The face is sincerity. And the calamities and test is our opportunity to grow. The opportunity to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with the alternative or means of test in the Quran, He mentioned fitna. Fitna. He says in the ayah, وَلَقَدْ فَتَنَّ الَّذِينَ مِن قَبْلِهِمْ فَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ صَدَقُوا وَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ الْكَاذِبِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and we tested those before them, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make evident, make it clear, those who are truthful and those who are untruthful. So the fitna in the Arabic language mean to go to the core, to expose the real of something, the reality of something. When we say about the dhahab, it's used mainly with the dhahab. Fitna to dhahab means when you get a gold from the miners, you need to heat up that dhahab, that gold. Heat that gold up, heat it so much so you can segregate and separate what is not gold from what's gold. Expose the gold from that composition. And this is what the trials and tests do to us. Expose the reality of us. The true belief that we claim in our tongue that we have comes out in the trials and obligations and responsibilities. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, he said, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, الدنيا, to understand this very, very important. الدنيا سجن المؤمن وجنة الكافر. الدنيا سجن المؤمن وجنة الكافر. What does it say in the translation? The world, that life that we live in is a prison house for a believer, and it's paradise for a non-believer. Prison house for a believer and a paradise for non-believer. So what does it mean to us? For a believer, this life is not the ultimate goal. No matter what level that we live in, no matter how much I have in this life, doesn't matter. Because it's not my target, it's not my goal. My goal is to succeed here and be among the people of Jannah, inshallah. A believer apply the laws and the restriction of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with the sincere belief and the sincere hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will accept them. And if the believer enjoy, let's say, okay, but some Muslims, let's go against us, living a nice life in this life. That's not, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not say that in the Quran. Whatever luxury life, whatever anything that we enjoy in this life, comparable to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved for us in the hereafter, is nothing. Nothing. And whatever calamity that we are going through right now, comparable to the hellfire, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from it, is nothing. And this is the deep meaning that we need to have in mind. And the real freedom is not in this world. This world we live in prison. That prison, the walls of the prison, is the rules of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The sharia that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put for us. The real freedom with no sin, no punishment, no work, no tiredness, nothing is going to be in the hereafter in Jannah, inshallah. For a disbeliever, their goal, their ultimate goal in this life They don't have any goal for the afterlife. That's why they run after the afterlife with all their capability. They want to enjoy the most of it. They want to grab the most of it. They want to collect the most of it. Because they don't have a belief that there is life after this. So there is the chance, enjoy your life. Have fun. Enjoy your life. There is no rule. So they can go whatever they can go. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Qiyamah, بَلْ يُرِيدُ الْإِنسَانُ لِيَفْجُرَ أَمَامَهُ. What does it mean, لِيَفْجُرَ أَمَامَهُ? Yafjur means comes from fajra, from the explode. The human being, the human being without a belief, without ruling from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you leave him, he will just go everywhere. Whatever he can do and can reach, he will do. There is nothing restricting him. But as a Muslim, we have restrictions. We have limits that we stop by. We cannot cross that limit if we want to be among the successful in the hereafter and this dunya. So some people may come but say, but Sharia has a lot. Don't, this is haram, this is haram, this is haram. Do not do this, do not do that. Do not take a riba loan. Do not, have unlawful relationship. Do not, blocks a lot of things and have a lot of things to do. We have a lot, don't and do a lot of that. And it's too much on me. I cannot really bear that. I cannot really do all of that. Guess what? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها لها ما كسبت وعليها ما اكتسبت. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not require from any soul, does not obligate anything of us that we cannot do, we cannot bear, that we cannot come, perform. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not. If he did so, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he would be injustice to us. Anything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala obligated on us is something that we can do. There is no excuse. So people think, okay, when it comes to test, everybody mind go to what? Loss, sickness, disability, less money, less fortune. Yes, everybody goes to that direction. And this is not what the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us in the Quran, وَنَبْلُوكُمْ بِالشَّرِّ وَالْخَيْرِ fitna. Again, the word fitna comes back again. To get the best out of us. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, we test you with evil and with good as a trial. So if we understand the evil, we understand the sickness, we understand the less money, the less fortune we have, we understand loss of the beloved ones, we understand all of that. That's all test. We understand the temptation that we have around us. We understand all of that. How good can be a test? Well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us blessings that we don't use for His sake. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us a body that's healthy and we don't use it for that sake, what do you think this is? Disobedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We just waste our time, waste our life. Wasting the time is abuse to the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sitting in hours watching a TV was just collecting sayyat. You use whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us, the eye, the body, and everything that we have, in disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives someone money, and yet he is not using that money in the way that pleases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He might not use it for something that displeases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but he wastes the money left and right. He spent his money on some stuff that are okay, mubah, but he's not using it wisely for the sake of Allah. The same thing, the whole list goes on and on for that. But look how Prophet Sulaiman alayhi salam understand the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In Surah An-Naml, Prophet Sulaiman alayhi salam, he said, هَذَا مِنْ فَضْلِ رَبِّي لِيَبْلُوَنِي أَأَشْكُرُ أَمْ أَكْفُرُ. That blessing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give to me, and imagine, Sulaiman alayhi salam, he has something that nobody on earth before him or after him will get something like that. Nobody. So how Sulaiman understood that blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? He understood it in the right context, which is, this is by the grace of my Lord to test me whether I am grateful or ungrateful. So any blessing that we have, as we mentioned, even the free time, that's a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. نعمتان مغبون فيهما كثير من الناس. Two blessings that most of the people have, but they don't really use them right. What's that? الصحة والفراغ. The good health and the free time. We don't use it. We're going to be judged for that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask them about our time in this life, how we spent it. We're going to be asked about that. The test is proportional to our status to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The more we have higher status to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the more the test will be higher. If we need to understand this, look to Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. So what Prophet Ibrahim was tested with? He was tested with many things. I'm going to mention one of them. When the Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded him and ordered him to sacrifice his son. How Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described that test in the Quran? إِنَّ هَذَا لَهُوَ الْبَلَاءُ الْمُبِينُ. This is the real, clear and true test. Imagine that you have to slaughter your son, to sacrifice your son. And this is something that you have to do. Do you really gonna do this? How much pain you're gonna have in your heart to do it? How much difficult this command is. And yet Ibrahim alayhi salam did not really hesitate a second. He went to his son and said, son, I have been ordered to do so. Let's proceed. That's simple. Do we have that yaqeen? Do we have that belief in our heart? That's something we need to work on. If we're going to count how much blessings we have and how much tests we have in life, the list is endless. Everybody of us knows how much blessing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him and how much shortcoming he is with those blessings. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us among those who understand and use the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a way that get us closer to him. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون اذكروا الله يذكركم. بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. Brothers and sisters, this life, the only thing that's valuable in this life is the good deed that we do. Other than this, the life is worthless. Other than this, whatever enjoyment, amusement we have in this life is worthless. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, لو كانت الدنيا تعدل عند الله جناح بعوضة ما سقى منها كافرا شربة ماء. If this life, if this world were worth the wing of a mosquito to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He wouldn't give a disbeliever a sip of water of it. If this world, the whole thing that we have right now, worth to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala a wing of a mosquito, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not give those who reject him or who reject him a sip of water out of it. So what does it mean to us? Does it mean for us we should not go after that? We should not go after garbage. That's a garbage. This life is a garbage comparable to hereafter. If we go after that garbage, we are among those who run after that garbage. We don't need to have the dunya in our heart. The dunya is on our hand. We use it for the sake of Allah, but we don't have it and work for it. It is as it is our target and end over. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, إن الله اشترى من المؤمنين أنفسهم وأموالهم بأن لهم الجنة. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, indeed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has purchased from the believer their lives and its entirety. Whatever you have in this life, from time, from wealth, from kids, from family, everything that we have in this life, purchase that from us. How Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala purchases that from us? By us doing everything in this life for the sake of Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will accept our good. What's the exchange in return? بِأَنَّ لَهُمُ الْجَنَّةِ. Whoever applied this, The exchange from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is what? Al-Jannah. So that's a direct deal. You do it, you get. Very simple equation. And the loftier the price, the loftier the reward, the loftier the commodity that you are trying to buy. If you're gonna buy a nice house and mansion, the loftier that thing is, the commodity is, the loftier the price that you're gonna pay for that. The loftier the effort you're gonna spend on it. The same thing for Jannah. The Jannah is not for free. Jannah is something very precious that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give to us, inshallah, in exchange of living this life, obeying Him, believing in Him, and follow His commands, and stay away from what He ordered us to stay away from. Whoever has this recipe of life, he will get the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala benefit us from this talk. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا واخطأنا. ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا. ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. أقم الصلاة.